Okay, I think we are recording. This is episode 4 of the DWalkerFitness podcast. Today is going to be a bit of a special one. This is like a throwback. What day is it? Monday, with all the boys who competed last year in July. We got Charlie to my left. I don't know how this is when it's recorded. You got George to the right. You got Gaunty bottom left, and then Brett bottom right. League couldn't make it, unfortunately, but yeah. How's everybody doing? I know we spoke just on camera, but we'll get some new thoughts in. Everyone happy? Everyone good?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, I thought so.
Brilliant. So I've wrote down some questions. I've kind of just told you what they were just before recording to get yourselves prepped up. If you're feeling comfortable to answer the question or you don't want to answer the question, that's fine. If anyone's got any questions for me or vice versa, I'm more happy to give that a go. So the first thing I wanted to speak about was how we all met. So we all kind of met at different times, but who wants to kind of take this away? Who wants to start with that, how we all met?
Well, I'll start because I met you and Charlie before I met George and Brett, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd originally planned to compete with Purity in July. And as a result of that, I joined signed up for one of their posing camps.
Yeah.
Which was March or April, I suppose, last year. Something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, about April last year in Potter's Bar, I want to say, but I can't really remember, to be honest. Just off the M25 somewhere.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, so I turned up, worked my way all around the sort of this sports centre place to some dance studio.
Yeah.
Remember that? Up some stairs. And there was literally just a couple of people hanging around outside. You and Charlie sitting on the sofa and a couple of girls standing around. And I'm like, am I in the right place? Not sure. So, yeah. I think I ended up eating some chicken and rice or something. It's time to eat, as it is every sort of 2 hours at that time of the day. And sort of a little bit of small talk amongst people. And then my first thing that I remember is Josh walking up along with Janine and a couple of others. And this geezer's got the biggest legs going. And it's a case, all right, if he's come here as well, I might as well walk away now because we've got no chance. Obviously, he was the posing coach, wasn't he? Which was a bit of a relief, really, because he is like a monster to start with. But yes, yeah, so April last year was the first time that I met you guys.
Yeah. That was a weird experience. Like, I remember me and Charlie were upstairs waiting, and it was just me and Charlie, and then two girls opposite. And I was expecting 20, 30 people, and I thought this is odd. And then we walked in, and people started appearing, and it was like 30 seconds later, it was like, right, guys, everyone take your kit off, we're starting.
Yeah.
There was no messing. It was just take your kit off.
Straight in.
Like, do I keep my socks on, or do I take them off? Do I take them off as well?
I think we did quite well because there was certainly more girls than boys, wasn't there? There was like 4 of us. So we had quite a good sort of experience, quite a good sort of exposure time, really.
Yeah.
And like you, that was the first time that I had sort of real exposure to posing in person or anything like that. Seeing it on YouTube and stuff like that. But in person, it's like, well, I don't even know where to start. It's like going back to school again, isn't it? First time.
Yeah, that was mad.
I remember Josh picked me to go first, and he just said, walk up to me and do a pose. I was like, oh, God. And I just walked up to him, I did like a double bicep. He's like, no, you can't do that. I was like, fuck. I don't know what I do. You can't clench your fist. I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
It just shows you how valuable those workshops are, though.
Yeah.
The amount of things you don't realise you can't do until you do them.
Yeah, this is it. It would like do a quarter turn to your right, and you just didn't know where to put your feet. You didn't know how to stand, and he had to try and get every single person to do a different type of pose.
Yeah, no.
That was horrible.
They probably threw you in the deep end. It's like, right, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Except that. He's just like,
yeah.
Yeah, that'll do. That's nice. Yeah, next person. Yeah, that was scary. But no, it was good though. So, George, did you do a posing workshop without us?
Yeah, so I think we all met at the second posing workshop leading up to the competition, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys must have done the first one, then and then me and Brett must have been there on the second one, and then that's how we all met together for the first time, wasn't it? I believe.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I went to the first posing workshop, but it was in Manchester, and I was the only guy there. It was just me and
No way.
it was just me and Stuart, and then a couple of girls. There was literally 3 of us there, and that was it. And that was the first one in Manchester. The first one you guys went to, was it down south in Potter's Bar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
So I went to that first one in Manchester, and I was the only guy. It was weird. It was good exposure, like you said, but it was on the second round of Manchester posing workshops that we all turned up at that place. I think I must have been like 4 weeks out or somewhere.
Yeah,
around
I
there.
think you're right.
Yeah, it was not far off. I was so worried about just going there and just not being lean enough.
It was 3 weeks out, the one where you went.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's what everybody was worried about. We were all like, "Are we leaving enough?" Because
Everyone-
I don't know about you guys, but I didn't know who I was against. I hadn't seen any competition or followed them on Instagram. I didn't know anyone until that workshop, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so this is what I'm competing against in 4 weeks' time." It was quite interesting.
You've really got no idea about the sort of like caliber of person that's going to compete either, do you? You really don't know where you stand at all in terms of like how good your physique is compared to the rest of the people in the UK that are going to go to this competition. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's so daunting, especially when you go onto like Instagram or anything. All the people you follow are just like 10 times more ripped than you are. You know what I mean? So it's like you're expecting to see that when you go there. But obviously when you do go there, it's, you know, we're all in a similar position. Chances are there's going to be a few guys more shred than you, and there's going to be a few guys that are bigger than you, but you'll lie somewhere in the medium, between them all.
I think it's a lot harder because the federations, I find, they tend to give more exposure to their pro overall winners. So the most of the things you see on Instagram are the overall winners or the class winners, and you never really get to talk to or see a lot of just the average guy that competes.
Yeah,
so
you
that was
compete
quite interesting.
comparing yourself to like everyone you see on Instagram, aren't you? Which is really
If
not real.
I see Josh Blue on every other Instagram post, I'm like, bloody hell, is this the standard of everybody? But that is just that's the top tier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's Damien's here now.
I was literally going through like all the winners' Instagrams for like the past 3 years and just seeing the type of person that's going to be turning up there.
Yeah. No, I did this. I ended up muting and like blocking about 100 different competitors because I'd find myself just stalking everyone's Instagrams, panicking. And then you'd see them and you think, man, these are like 10 weeks out and they're already more lean than me. And that was what I found most scary. So I had to mute everyone and just thought, I can't deal with it. I can't deal with the, because at the end of the day, is that how good you're coming in, like your best physique, your best package. It's nothing to do with anyone else, but you can't help but look. And that was hard to deal with.
Yeah.
I think that's a major benefit after you've done your first show. Once you've done that, you have that experience and you kind of realize the only person you really want to beat is just your previous physique on stage. And if you do that, then you're happy. And if you place, it's just a bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, no way. Sorry.
You should never like be like worse than your first ever show, because like the amount of experience you gain in that first show is just going to be the most that you'll ever gain. Like from there on out, it's just going to be much smaller by comparison.
Yeah.
It's all an unknown, isn't it, the first one as well? If you've never done it before, you don't really know what to expect from the beginning all the way through to showdown, really.
Yeah, it was mad. Mad how we all met and what we learnt on the day. The next question I've got here is, why did you all choose Pure Elite to do your first? Was it all your first shows or not?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So why Pure Elite? Who wants to take charge on that one?
I'll Who's going?
Go on, George.
I'm just going to go in because everybody else is stalling. I was looking around a few federations, but I didn't know anything at the start. So I kind of just Googled bodybuilding competitions Manchester, and that pulled up a lot of federations that didn't have a fitness model style category. It was all men's physique or bodybuilding. And as you'll know, I am nowhere near big enough to compete in those kind of size classes that require good muscle mass. And it was only when I came across Purely, I saw this beach body. And I was like, this looks interesting. This doesn't sound like it requires a very large muscular physique. And obviously looking at the class criteria, it didn't want you to be super, super lean like the others, and it didn't want you to be super muscular. So I just came across it, and I found that class, and I was like, well, that fits my body type just right. So the ones I looked at beforehand, they just didn't have the class that really I wanted to compete in. But since then, I've found many other federations that do those kind of classes, and I'll be competing in two separate federations other than Pure Elite at the end of this year.
That'll be a nice experience as well, to see how they kind of run and the experience and compare that to other ones.
Yeah, but to answer it, I kind of just fell to Pure Elite. It was one of the first ones I looked at, to be honest.
To be fair, me and Charlie, we were the same. We were Googling around what to do, and it was like men's physique or bodybuilding. And I thought, yeah, I'd love to do men's physique. That was kind of my kind of got me into bodybuilding in the first place. And then I thought, I'm nowhere near big enough. And then we saw beach body, and it looked at the criteria, the same thing. And we were like, could I beat that physique, or could I challenge that? And then we tried to find some clips on YouTube, and I started to watch loads of old prep videos from beach body people. And we said,
did you watch Dan Rayner's prep video?
Yeah.
I watched that as well. I watched Dan Rayner's videos, yeah.
And then I thought, right, Charlie, this is what we're doing, mate. And that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah. Didn't know what I was doing. I was just getting along with it. Worked out all right.
Yeah. And then I did men's physique just because I thought, why not? And then the fitness model, again, it was another one where I thought, why not? We're going there for the experience. We may as well kind of go for it. But what about you, Gaunty? How did you kind of come across it?
A little bit by accident. I spoke to my coach and said, look, I want to do one. And he came up with a few suggestions of a couple of federations. And it's pretty much Pure Elite is what fitted with when I could do it around work and things like that.
Yeah.
Regards to the classes, I was always set on men's physique.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started thinking about competing, that was sort of what I was looking at. However, I've got to the posing camps, looking at other stuff, finding out really fitness model, what that's all about. And actually, I enjoyed that more than I did the men's physique side of it, to be honest. It's a little bit more, not theatrical, I suppose, but you can put a little bit more fun into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, enjoy it a little bit more. Men's physique was a little bit sort of, not stale, but very sort of a bit clinical, really. You got to do this, this, and this, whereas you can show yourself off a bit more on the fitness model.
Yeah.
So I know there's other federations that do similar stuff like that, but yeah, Pure Elite was what fitted with the dates I could do and sort of the recommendations from my coach as to the sort of thing that, you know, I'd be looking at, really.
Mm-hmm. That's spot on. What about you, George?
So for me, it was literally like location. So Manchester is where I wanted to go, just because it was going to be the closest for me, and then like timing as well. So I always usually like to get lean for like mid July, just because I go on holiday. So I'm like, right, I'll usually take my cut like almost competition like seriously. So I was just like, right, why not do a competition this year? And then Pure Elite was just the one that fit that. So when I went to the initial posing workshop, I literally had no clue what category I wanted to be in. I go in, and then he's like, take your off, and I put these little short, I had my little shorts on, and then he's just there like, your legs are sick, and I'm there like, my legs are sick. I never even knew my legs were like any good. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's because you're just like so critical of like your physique all the time. And he was like, right, your legs are too big to do men's physique. You need to do fitness model, and then fell into the fitness model, and then did the junior, and then did the it ended up being like an overall one, didn't it? Rather than being split under 75, over 75s. Yeah. So, which was kind of annoying, to be fair, because I feel like I would have just like to stick with the under 75s. Do you know what I mean? Cause you're gonna rank higher. Do you know what I mean?
That was my thought process. The same thing. I was like, no, I don't want to face more people.
Exactly. But yeah.
No, that's cool. What about you, Charlie? Anything different to what we already added, or was it just kind of rolling with it?
I normally get a bodybuilding tan around July, so I thought that suited. Thought I'd get lean as well this year instead. No, it's pretty much what you said.
Sound. What was everyone's overall experience with competing at that first show? What were the good parts, and then we'll kind of cover the bad parts if there were any. Who wants to go first on that?
I've got to say the atmosphere was unreal.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's just so crazy and manic and new as an experience. It's completely different to anything you'll ever do if you do it for the first time. That it's just surreal, all of it. The people you meet, the crowd, the cheering, obviously, like all that side of it. It's almost like one big adrenaline blur when you look back on it. But it's addictive. It makes you want to do it again. As soon as you finished it, you're like, I want to do that again. Well, I guess everybody has that reaction, but that was mine. I just wanted to have that experience again, for sure.
Very difficult to explain to someone that's never done it exactly what it's like, isn't it? It doesn't matter what you say. You can't put into words what it's like walking out on this stage in front of a load of people. And the people you've never met people cheering for you.
Yeah. What did you say, George, then? Sorry.
As soon as you go up and then you just start and then like you just lose all sense of time and then it's just over like that, isn't it? Like it was for me at least anyway. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I was, I think, a bit of a wreck, and just the whole posing thing. All I cared about was making sure I did the right poses that I practiced. That's all I cared about. I was just so obsessed with trying to get some good posing in and get some cool photos. That's all I was bothered about. But yeah, it was a very weird. I'm glad we did the parade at the beginning. I didn't want to do it at first, and then when we did it, I thought I'm glad we did that now because it kind of prepared you for what was about to come in a few hours' time.
That's really true, actually. Yeah, definitely. And I think all of us were like so happy we did multiple categories, weren't we? Just because we got to have that extra stage time.
Yeah, that was mostly from the workshop when we were all asking each other what we were competing in, and we kind of ended up with the fact that I was only doing beach body, and I think you were as well, Damien. And then we were like, why don't we do men's physique? Why don't we do fitness model? Why don't we make the most of it if we get into that level for an extra 60 pounds, or whatever it costs. Have that experience, and doing 3 classes in one show is like having 3 shows worth of experience if you only do 1 class, right? So
I think I agree. No,
I only did one category, but I think I wish I'd have done more now. But I don't think my body suited any others. So I think if I was going to do another one, I'd do the international model when you wear the suit and everything and come out like that. That looked pretty cool.
That was cool, yeah.
Yeah. Sure. I think, it's just it's something completely different as well, isn't it? Just wearing a suit.
Backstage is a really cool random environment as well.
Yeah.
Just that no organization, people's stuff all over the show. Everybody's walking around with sweets to carve up before they get on stage, salt on the hands. It's just crazy. It's really cool.
I remember seeing it was like a male changing room and a female like changing room. And you walk there and there's just females in both.
Yeah.
And it was like, where do we go? And it's like, oh, the corridor. You're like, okay, that'll do then, won't it? The corridor will do.
Just chuck your bag wherever you can find space.
Yeah.
Oh, people doing push-ups and bicep curls with bands like all over the place. It's crazy.
I thought I kept looking at other people to see what they would do for their carb up, and you think, I've got my plan ready to go. I know what I'm doing. Then all of a sudden you see someone else doing something, and you think, oh, are they missing? Are they doing something that I should be doing? And then you start comparing yourself to others, and it was a bit weird.
That's definitely where a coach comes in handy to take out all the guesswork for you.
Yeah, I didn't have a coach, so for me doing the 2 classes meant I sort of took 2 different approaches. So in the first one, I just which I think was the juniors, I tried to eat like a lot less carbs, and then like before the next one, I was just like, right, let's just fill me up with carbs. And I think that was a bad idea, to be honest, because looking at the photos, I definitely looked like I was just a bit more bloated in the second one round. But like you said, having a coach would have mitigated all of that. But it's hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah, massive help. I mean, my coach, you probably saw him there, Damien. My coach was there backstage all day, so almost like an hour-by-hour basis. He was like saying, right, eat this, eat that. Right, you've got 2 hours before your next one. Okay, go and have some chicken. And, so all the way through, it's a damn sight easier having someone there to help you out, because I've got no clue, to be honest, on my own. Literally, he tells me what to do, and I do it. And that's the easy way to do it, I think.
Yeah. I think I wanted to get a coach on the second time round, but just wasn't sure. So I just thought I'm just going to go with the flow and see what happens. And then the next show I do, if I do one, I'm sure we will get a coach. But yeah, I think half my worrying was when do I eat my carbs? When do I eat this? When do I have my pump? Is it too soon? Because there's multiple categories as well. You don't want to pump up too early, then you just look flat on the next one, and it was a bit of a stress. And I thought changing categories was a strange experience as well, because we'd do beach body. Sorry, go on.
I think me and you had the exact same issue there, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. It was ridiculous, because it was like beach body, right? You do that, and then all of a sudden you run backstage. You've got to keep your tan looking okay. Change into men's physique shorts, run back up, right? Men's physique, yep, and then you go do that, and then you come back, and then it was like, right, put your trunks back on. But then when they did the ceremony to see where you placed, there was about 30 seconds in between each one. So it was like, where did you place? Run backstage, put your shorts back on. And it was like, where the men physique guys? And it's like, we're just getting changed. Like, we've just been out there. And that was a little bit of a stress, but I understand why they got to keep things moving, because there was a lot of people there.
That was one of the worst things about it, wasn't it? Like the timings of the categories. Like we had a vague idea of when we'd be going, but it wasn't like concrete at all. It was like off. Like it's probably off where you thought it would be by a couple of hours or so, wasn't it? So that made time and everything just that much harder. Yeah.
And then you think you're going to go on, so you start maybe having a few more carbs, and you start pumping up, and then there's like a little bit. I understand there's going to be delays, and they can't give us maybe an exact time because if things move or there's too many people or there's a problem. So that'll happen, I guess, in most. But I know what you mean. It was you just sat there waiting, but then you're walking around and
that's definitely just sort of in the category of just sort of like general competing rather than purely specific.
Yeah,
like you see all the time when you follow people on YouTube, like the timing of shows, they'll either won't give you one you won't know when you're going, or they can be way off. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If they give you them and they're on time, you're going to be it's lucky, and it's not a general case scenario at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think so. All the good times was mainly obviously the competing stage. I know Charlie really enjoyed his tan and the tanning experience. That's one of his highlights of his competing career. Is that true?
That's very true. Again, just for the tan. I loved it. I did.
And the tan was such a weird experience. I'd never had a spray tan before, and then next thing you know, you're just in a room with like 6 naked lads. They're just like, right, you know what to do. Put the sock on, and then
I remember I couldn't put my sock on at first. I couldn't get it on, and I ended up taking the one off my foot and putting that on. But it was like an invisible sock, so I was worried it was just going to fall off mid-tan. And I was just there with my eyes closed, thinking nothing had happened, and my sock had fell off.
That's hilarious. I had an absolutely embarrassing moment when I was getting my tan done, because after they spray you, there was only one big fan, and you had about 5 or 6 guys all crowded round with their arms up like that, trying to dry off. And you're all like looking at each other, and I don't know why, and I don't know who I said this to, but I looked at someone and I went, "You're looking good, mate. Looking shredded." And I was like, "That's a really not a good thing to say."
Yeah, I was trying to avoid eye contact at all times.
Absolutely.
I think it is an appropriate time to say it is during a bodybuilding competition or whatever.
Yeah.
When are you going to be getting a spray tan with 6 lads at one time?
Yeah, I forgot about that experience. I remember messaging them saying, "Is the sock rumor true? Like, do you need to bring your own, or do you supply them?" And they never messaged me back, and I just thought, we'll just bring one just in case. But like I remember arriving, getting the tan, and the night, so we have to have the second coat on the second day before the show, and Charlie's just there trying different socks on just to see which one fits well.
I knew you were going to say that.
And it's like, yeah, this is the sock, this is the one, and it's like, what an experience.
I knew what to do on the second day, that's why. The first day I didn't know what to do with it. I was prepared then, so I went with my sock already on. I knew you were going to say that, Damien.
Yeah, I was just trying to get the viewers and the listeners as much information as they can, so that we can prepare them for it. Because people must think it's not real and not true, but it's absolutely true. You're just in a room with naked guys just getting sprayed, and it's part of the experience. Any last things for the positive moments for the competing? Anyone
But
got
this is
anything else?
quite cool that we're all still in touch, and when like we weren't really like competing against each other, saying, "Oh, I need beat him" or anything like. We were all mates backstage at the workshops, and even now, like on this call, we're all together. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think there's like, you might expect it before you go, but there really isn't that like massive competitiveness between anyone. It's sort of like everyone's just sort of helping each other out backstage. No one's being a dick. Like, everyone's just sound, really.
That was my
think
biggest thing.
You just want to compete. So for me, just competing against yourself, getting up there in the first place is almost like, for me, you've won the moment you've got onto stage. And like, most of us were all in different categories, and as you probably see with the videos and stuff like that people post on Instagram, when you're not competing, someone else runs around to the audience, videos everyone else on stage, so you actually get to see what you look like yourself, because you're never going to see that from the audience's view, which is brilliant. Last sort of couple of weeks after the show, little bits and pieces pop up, don't they, of someone else that's been video, and you look in the back and go, oh look, I'm there, look. Brilliant. Everyone sort of cheering each other on. Really good fun.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. It was a very surreal experience being backstage, and everyone wanted everyone to do well. And that was my biggest worry, was being just like judged backstage for maybe being too small or not lean enough, or people were just going to be horrible. And then all of a sudden, everyone's just best mates. We're all stood there in our pants. Everyone's best mates, having a great time. And it's like, yeah, and it's cool that we've all kept in touch. And I remember. This is kind of not to do with this podcast, but like Gaunty came to the second one, Charlie came to the second one that I competed at, and watched the shows anyway, and just said hi. And everyone's, I don't know, you just become, as cheesy as it may be, everyone does become kind of part of the competing family, and everyone wants everyone else to do well. So like when you guys are competing next time, it's like, I want you to do, I want everyone to do well. But yeah, it's an amazing feeling. It's mad.
Yeah, it's surreal being surrounded by so many people that are like-minded. So if it's your first time competing, you've probably spent your whole prep trying to tell your friends and family why you can't go out for dinner, why you can't go out and have a beer at night, and they just all look at you like you're a weirdo. And then finally you kind of submerged with loads of other people that are doing the exact same thing as you, and you're like, it's crazy.
Yeah. You feel normal for once.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. What was the kind of your worst experiences of competing, or is there any at all?
The day itself or the process?
I guess you could go over a little bit of the process. We know the process is going to be a tough one, but then mainly the competing side on the day.
Well, the process for me, just the tiredness, the amount of hours that you have to put in the gym, with the cardio, your steps, put it all around work and everything like that. You're getting sort of maybe 4 hours a night sleep sort of the weeks leading up to it, because you're just putting so much time in. And eating out of plastic Tupperware constantly. I can't remember the last time you eat food off a plate during prep. Everything was out of Tupperware, all over. Take your own meals everywhere.
Yeah. But as hard as it is, it's weirdly enjoyable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure if that's just me, but it's kind of cool, and I enjoyed the challenge of doing that, and the challenge of getting the steps in. I remember laying in bed multiple nights and thinking, hold on, how many steps have I done? I'm 4,000 or 5,000 short. And I just get up and just go walk outside, and I just keep walking till I've done my steps, and then I go back home and go to bed again. But,
it's in them boxes off, isn't it? It's instant gratification every time you do something you need to do. And then you're fueling that by every time you look in the mirror, you're looking better. So like each day, or like say if you take videos like weekly or whatever, you're looking better and better and better, and you're getting that reward mechanism that you need to just keep on going. So it's just fuel to the fire.
That's fun. No, I agree.
And by the time you start to feel really tired and really burnt out, it's usually only about 3 to 4 weeks until show day anyway. So you kind of enter that adrenaline period where you're so close to the competition that it doesn't matter how bad you feel, you're going to get through it, because you just have that motivation to see out that last week or two before show day. So you survive somehow.
I think we've just turned a negative into a positive there, haven't we?
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but from about 6 weeks out, my legs were always aching. I don't think every time I stood up, I could feel my legs aching. Every time I sat down, I was just like, I don't know, my legs definitely took a battering compared to everything else.
What sort of cardio levels did everyone get up to in the end?
The most mine got to was 5. We did it in terms of calories with my coach instead of time, because your intensity changes depends on your day. So we kept it at calories, but it ended up being around about it was never more than an hour a day for 7 days a week.
An hour though of straight cardio every day is it's grueling, and that's what it is for the legs, isn't it? Really, in my opinion, and that's why you're not getting that, that's why you're not getting the recovery from your leg days. So it's just constant pains.
Yeah. What about you, Gaunt?
Boredom of it as well. Just start on the treadmill or your bike or wherever you're on for that amount of time, like 45 minutes. The amount of Netflix series I went through, just literally on the step of watching something on an iPad every single day just to pass the time.
Yeah.
I couldn't do I can never do like watching stuff. I just feel like it just I'm focusing too much on the cardio that I just can't watch anything. Do you know if that makes sense? So yeah, for me it was just music, but you just don't have that. The music doesn't give you the same motivation it does as it did at the start, if that makes sense. Usually when you listen to some tunes and you just get that, you get like a bit of a buzz going. Like for the last like 4 weeks of cardio, that is not happening.
Yeah, see, I just watched Guzman's summer shredding leading up to it, and he had a new episode every day, and it was about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So I'd just get on the treadmill it was about 40 minutes to a day, and then about 4 weeks out, it went to about an hour. And then every now and again, I'd just be like, right, like, how long can I go until I can't walk anymore? So I'd do like 90 minutes every now and again, but it was mostly 60. And then as I got closer, I just tailored it off. So about a week out, I'd do maybe 2 half-an hours, and then I'd do nothing. But yeah, it was grueling. And then me and Charlie, we both joined Pure Gym just to get away from everyone. Just in the current gym, we just thought, right, we need to get away because we can't talk to people. Like, leave us alone. Like, I'm not in the mood to talk. So we joined Pure Gym and we just jumped on a Stairmaster just because Christian Guzman was doing Stairmaster. So I was like, I want to do that as well. And my legs were dying. But
I definitely do think Stairmaster is the one. I just feel like it's just like you just can't like cheat on it. Do you know what I mean? You just got to keep on going round on them steps. For me, it's definitely my favorite, and it's the one where I'm like sweating the most as well. And like, although sweat's not going to be like directly correlated to how hard you're working, sweating just does feel rewarding as well at the same time, doesn't it?
Yeah. I agree, 100%.
There's a special wall you hit with the Stairmaster. I always found it was about always 10 to 15 minutes in, or 20 minutes in. You hit this wall where when you pass it, you feel like you can go on forever. You can't feel your legs, but you just don't. You just feel like you can just carry on going. But the first 10 to 15 minutes when you get that Stairmaster is probably the worst.
Getting that groove.
The last half an hour is actually a breeze because I don't know, you just enter a zone, you pass I don't know what you call it, but some sort of wall.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
The first 10 minutes, you just think, this is impossible. How can I do an hour on here? And then you hit 10, 15 minutes, and all of a sudden you're in this weird zone where you can't see anything else, and the wheel's just you and the Stairmaster, and that's it. You just keep stepping.
Yeah. Madness.
You get to a stage where you can't get any more tired, so you just keep going anyway.
Yeah, that is it, totally.
I remember your Instagram going to like stories. It was like ridiculous o'clock in the morning, or like a ridiculous o'clock at night. You're still doing things, and it was like, I've not seen you sleep yet.
Well, I don't think I slept either. I mean, because I work shifts, I'll either work a day shift, which is 6 to 6, or a night shift, which is 6 to 6. To get the cardio in beforehand, I was getting up at, I think, 3:30 to get my cardio in, to get it done, then to drive to work, which is sort of 45 minutes, start work, and then at the end of the day, 45-minute drive home. So I was in the gym by about 7-ish, and then an hour and a half, go home, eat, shower, and then think about finishing off my steps, and then it's like bedtime, ready to do it all again.
Man.
You look back now and you think, how on earth do you survive doing stuff like that? And I keep thinking to myself now, how am I ever going to do it again? It's like it's a very distant memory at the minute.
I think
that definitely leads on to like definitely one of the bigger negatives of the process, which is you do have very little energy and time left over for friends and family once you've sorted yourself out with your prep requirements. But you just gotta, if they can be patient and hold on. I'm always just like, oh, don't worry, guys. Like 5-6 weeks later, I'll be able to go out with you, and I'll be able to.
You know, there's an end goal. You've got one date that you're aiming for, and you know after that, that's it, done. You can back to a bit of normality, really.
Yeah, for me though, I feel like there is that sort of competing afterglow where your mindset isn't right though. I don't know if you guys were like that. Like I definitely had I want to say 3 or 4 weeks after the show, like my mindset's still I'm not 100% back to how I would be normally, if that makes sense. It definitely competing and just being in a deficit for that long and that extreme, it definitely just distorts your whole perception of reality, really, without going too deep.
Yeah.
I don't think your mindset's that stable, if that makes sense. So my advice to anyone competing and just be trying to avoid making any big life decisions throughout that prep and then the few weeks later, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, my mental state didn't go back because I think within a week I signed up to another competition to do in end of September, beginning of October. So I literally had a couple of weeks off and was back on it again. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You competed in September?
It was either September or October. I can't remember now. It's either the end of September or beginning of October I did my other show.
I remember that vaguely.
Yeah, it was before I'd done it, before I came down to see you at the Worlds. It was about probably 6 weeks before that, I imagine.
No way.
Initially, I was thinking about doing the Worlds at the same time as you, but because of work, there was no way I could have prepped up to that date. So I had to do something earlier.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think I agree with the post-show thing. I had a really bad post-show blues where all of a sudden we talk about competition for 6 months, you prep for 6 months, and then all of a sudden it's finished. And it was like, now what do we do? Now what do we do?
Your life's sort of empty.
Yeah, and it's like you can eat whatever you want now, and then that was it. Went binging for about 4 weeks. Absolutely crazy. Which I knew I shouldn't do. I tried to reverse diet, and I tried to make sure everything was on track. And I kept my cardio up after the show. I didn't stop my cardio for damage control, and then I was on prep again for the Worlds. But yeah, it was straight. Like now, I still think about it all the time. Me and Charlie speak about it every time we see each other, as the show and how good it felt, and you just want to kind of do it again. But yeah, hormonally all over the shop.
Absolutely. I found the mental side of it post show was harder than I could have ever imagined. I've done a few videos on this, but as I'm quite a level-headed, pragmatic guy, but it just takes you by storm, and it so your mental kind of association with food. It's like you just can't stop. If you're not expecting it or you're not anticipating it or prepared, it can really bite you.
Yeah.
I ended up heavier than I was before I started my prep at one point, and then once my hormones normalized and my appetite was back to a normal human being, I managed to slowly bring it back down. But there's a lot of things I do differently next time for sure.
It's just that experience and find out what works for you. You've got to give yourself that leeway as soon as you come off of it, just for A, to reward yourself, and also B, for your sanity. But then not having a reason to stop, it just puts you in a position where you can just keep on. You'll just keep on going. You know what I mean? So it's a double-edged sword. There's no way you can really get around it. You just go, just try your best, I suppose, and just try and get back to a normality. But it's going to be so individual that it's just going to be something that, in my opinion, experience is just going to be needed to see what's going to work for you.
Yeah.
What
I think
about
you
you,
need to set
Charlie?
clear goals as well, like post-show clear goals, whatever that may be. But by not having, like you said, when you hit that once you've done that show day, if you don't have any goals set for after it, you do feel lost, and you end up going in a direction, but you have no idea where.
No man's land, innit?
Yeah.
I think I had a holiday booked so we did the show on the 4th of July. I went on holiday straight after, so just eat whatever I wanted. And then I think for a week or two, it was just eat whatever you wanted. But then I had another holiday booked for like the end of August. So in my head, I was like, I can't be looking like crap for that. So I sort of had that goal and something to work towards. That definitely helped me stay sort of in shape.
That's important. I found it a struggle without a goal, even though the world was in the back of my mind. But I just thought, well, I just need some time off. I need to have some nice food and chill. But then it's hard just to stop, and I never got full, which was weird.
I know all of us I think most of them was more like fit into the IIFYM crew, like macros. But I think coming off post show, obviously eat whatever you want at first, but then after that, if you do stick to the clean foods, you're less likely to sort of fuck up as hard. So that'd probably be something that makes sense.
Yeah.
And also when you're eating like quote unquote like dirty foods all the time, clean foods just taste awful. So I feel like you do genuinely just need to eat clean just so you can sort of appreciate food, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That'd be something I'd recommend to people when I have a competition.
Yes, absolutely important. How did you find it all, Charlie?
I still don't think I'm right. I don't think I'll ever go back to before prep. I think it's just like a new normal now, and this is just how it is. But I was depressed after. I felt like I was somebody for like that whole 6-month prep, and then the whole show, and then all of a sudden you were nobody. It was hard. It was tough. That's how I felt.
I remember coming back into the kitchen in the gym, and you just be pretty much sat there in the dark with a pack of bagels and Biscoff, and it's like, how many of them are you having, Charlie? And it's like, all of them.
All of them.
Yeah. And then we were talking about Ireland a little bit and other shows, and
I think the calories I ended up on they were that low for me to do another show straight after. I didn't think I would have done it. And because I didn't have another goal set or anything, I just went the opposite way, and it was just binging for a while and just literally eating anything.
How low did your calories go, Charlie? I think it wasn't about 1,400 or something like that. I remember you saying.
The week before, I was on 1,000 calories a day.
Jeez, yeah,
Crazy.
Serious.
But I weighed 56 kilograms. That was my weight on show day. It was 56 kilograms. So I think for me to do another show straight after, then I don't think I would have been able to go past 1,000. Yeah. To reverse and then drop that down, I don't think there would have been enough time. So I thought I'd just binge on Biscoff, spread, and bagels instead. Seemed alright at the time.
God.
It's so shit, isn't it? Because like eating's not fun because you're thinking I'm putting on so much weight, but then not eating's not fun because you're just so hungry all the time. So it's just like
can't win.
You really can't win at all. You just got to try and manage, haven't you? And then I think it's just a case of time going by, and then you being at like above maintenance. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what it really boils down to. Just while your hormones get back to normal, I imagine.
Yeah, that's good advice. I think. Has anyone else got any other tips they'd like to give any fellow competitors for post-show blues, for anyone who hasn't competed before? Any top tips?
Now, after we've had this conversation, I'd probably speak to people who are in the same situation.
Yeah.
Because Charlie, Damien, you guys speak quite a lot, but I mean, if I probably had someone speak to that was in a similar situation, I reckon that would have helped a lot. So like, maybe stay in contact with the people from your competition and just be like, how are you getting on, mate? that probably would have helped a lot, I reckon.
This is like
it does help you feel normal. I remember speaking to you a few times, Damien, to help me. I remember speaking to you a few times, Damien, just saying, like, are you having the same issues as me? Because I have no control, and then you were the same, and I was like, thank God for that. Yeah. Because you the people that do well post-show, they're the ones that continue to post on Instagram or whatever and say, 6 weeks post-show, I've put on weight slowly and I'm still looking lean and great. And you're like, well, I haven't posted anything since my show day because I'm now significantly higher body fat than before. And it's mentally hard to take on social media. You only see the people that are staying that level of rips.
Did you see Guzman's video post-show?
Oh, that was crazy. That helped me feel better, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Made
I
me
saw
feel
that and
normal.
just thought, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm not that mad. He had gained like 30 pounds in 30 days or something ridiculous. And I just thought, well, I've gained a lot, but not as much as him. So it made me feel a little bit better. But
Yeah. I think your body has to gain a good 20 to 30 pounds. Or maybe not 30. It depends on what you started on, how much you lost. But your body definitely needs to gain at least 15 to 20 pounds of body fat. But it's just trying to get that body weight on you over 10 weeks rather than 2.
I think it's definitely based off how much you weigh. Like obviously, like someone like me being 150 pounds, but competing at like 150 pounds, I definitely could add less than say you competing at like 180. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think it's relative to your sort of base as an individual.
Yeah.
You've got to put weight on regardless after a show.
Yeah. No, I like good advice for everyone. I think.
Sorry, let me just add. What made things worse for me is that I spent every day with Damien, but he was doing another show, so every day he was getting leaner and leaner, and I was just getting fatter and fatter. Like we were on the stage together at one point, so now we're like complete opposites. That would just made things 10 times worse.
I think.
Yeah, it was hard.
I think what could have helped that situation is you can focus on like gaining your strength back, because when you've got something that you can progress on, as opposed like say your strength when you are gaining weight compared to visually looking better when you are cutting. As long as you're focusing on something, I reckon that's going to help you feel a lot better mentally.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. For me, it was quite hard because, like I say, Charlie was eating food and I was starting another prep. And every time I come to the back, I'd speak to Charlie. Everyone's getting food, and it's like I'm still on prep. Like I need you to not show me this food because it's just sending me a little bit crazy. But apart from that, I managed to do it. Any more worst parts of prep or the competition? Like I personally, I think the day went really well. I think everything went pretty much smooth. I didn't have any major issues. I think there could have been a bit more space backstage, but it is a small arena and it was just like an amateur show. So
yeah,
I don't know. Everything else I think went pretty well. The announcers, the judges, the whole arena. I thought overall it went pretty smooth.
Yeah, itself spot on, wasn't it?
Yeah, like the tanners were great. Any problems, you just run in, get a quick touch up, brilliant. And yeah, if like going into another show, it was a lot more relaxing because you knew who the tanners were going to be. You kind of know what's going to happen. So anyone else doing any other shows, you know, you're gonna have a good experience with those guys. So I haven't got anything really bad to say, to be honest.
No, neither do I. I'm competing with them again in October, so there you go. That shows you how I thought of purely as a federation.
If you want to compete, well, maybe I'll get on it. After this presentation, I've definitely got that. I've kind of got that. It's kind of relit the fire in me to get back into it, just like bringing back some memories and reminiscing.
Yeah.
That gives you focus in your training and everything as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Time towards.
Mm-hmm. I'm struggling now to figure out what I want to do with training. I feel like I've been injured for about 18 months with different things, and it's trying to recover. But then you start putting weight back on, and you're thinking, "Oh, I'm not very lean." It's like, yeah. Oh, it's tough. It is tough. Are you going to compete against Charlie, or?
I think I definitely will, but just not yet. Because if I was to start prepping now, then I'd just step on stage looking the same. And if I was going to compete again, I want to look better than I did last time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take time out and get bigger.
Yeah. And
then start. Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, if I just entered the show next year, I'd just go and look exactly the same. I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be very worried I'd look worse just because of like training throughout COVID's just been really suboptimal.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what everyone's had access to, but I've had a pull-up bar and 2 dumbbells that go up to 15 kilos. So pretty limited training over here. But I mean, I think I've done all right with managing things. Like I've progressed on handstand push-ups.
No, that's
I've
cool.
done what I could. Bulgarian split squats. I'm now doing like sets of 20. So it's just it's managing. But I don't think I would be. I'm carrying as much muscle as I was previously, and I think if I did go to court, I'd potentially look worse on stage. But we've got recovery time anyway. Hopefully, gym's opening soon.
Yeah. What about you, Gaunt?
Funny enough, I was talking with Brett about this last week sometime.
Yeah, we were, weren't we?
There's 3 consecutive weekends in October. There's 3 shows there, so I'm looking at 1, if not more of them, maybe.
Yeah.
Which gives us, what's the first one, Brett? 13 weeks now, something like that. 12 and a half weeks.
We're 12 and a half weeks out, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the first one. Once we're back in the gym, give it a few weeks and see how we get on. I'm 15 kilos above stage weight at the moment. Hopefully it's not all fat. So the idea was try and put on a bit of size. So we'll see what happens if it tries to come off.
No, good.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole new experience for me this time because I only did the 1 show in July last year, and now I'm doing 3 peak weeks on the bounce. 3
I think
weekends.
you'll learn a lot about yourself, though, won't you? You'll learn what works, and that'll be an unbelievable experience.
Yeah, so hopefully, Beachbody going for that pro title in October. We'll see what happens without the king there to defend his crown.
I think, a lot of people have asked if I'm going to do it, and I just don't think I can. I think my body it's telling me to have a rest, and I need to look after the kind of business side of things and make sure I'm putting a lot of effort into that, because last year it was maybe a little bit subpar from my side, and even like relationship as well. I basically had a year off my girlfriend, just concentrating on prep, and I said to her, like, if no matter what I do, I'll give you a good year following the Worlds to make sure I'm actually giving something back, because she was literally just sat there in the dark doing nothing whilst I was doing cardio and training, and I didn't neglect her, but you could look at it like that. So
pressure's on Brett then to pass the baton on to him and keep the title amongst the group.
Yeah. Yeah,
I have no idea. I have absolutely. To be fair, I don't really speak to a lot of Beachbody pros in pure elite, apart from Dan Rayner, who's my coach as an amateur. So I have no idea what my competition is going to be like on the day again. So we'll wait and we'll look forward to that surprise.
The Worlds, the amateur round was massive. There was maybe 20 people in the amateurs. Really? It was massive, yeah. And I remember being backstage thinking, like, Jesus, there's a lot of people here, and a lot of them were looking very good. And then realized that they were amateurs, which I was like, thank God for that. And the pros, there wasn't many at all, so it was a bit of a relief. But I don't know. You could literally be you out of you and somebody else. It could be 2 people, but it could be 10. But there's no reason why you can't bring a better package than last time and win it. There's no reason why not.
I keep begging Dan Rayner, saying, "Are you going to come on stage? Fancy having a go against you."
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool. It'd be tempting if he said, "Oh, I'm coming back." Then it'd be tempting to say, "Right, okay, like, why not?" But even then, I wouldn't be sure. I'm more looking at next year and just seeing. But again, like I said, the feedback I got because Dan was the judge, well, one of the judges, and I messaged Dan and spoke to him in person after the show and everything else, and he said might be like a little bit too big for Beachbody and a bit too lean on the day. You might want to try and go up. So I was stuck in 2 minds. Like, do I just need to stick as I am, or do I want to get big? And my personal goal is I want to try and get a little bit bigger anyway. So I might try a different category and just go to fitness model, where I think I did okay last time. But I don't know. It's tough.
It makes sense about you. It makes sense about you taking that year off, though. You got to recognize there is a balance to life, and there's a lot of things to life outside of competing. So it's definitely good to have that, even though you want to carry on that momentum as the world champ. Taking that perspective of, there's other people in my life that matter to me. And
it's that fear of missing out, which is hard to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like that with the work in October when you were competing. I was like, am I missing out? Or
it's like you guys talking now, like, oh yeah, we've got 3 shows back to back, and then George was like, oh, October sounds fun. I'm just like, man, like, I want to come as well. Like, don't leave me out. It's like, Charlie, you may as well join in as well. Do you know what I mean?
No, I'm at least 2 years out from a show, so.
And it's like, yeah, it's that fear of missing out, and but then understanding it's just one of those things. Like you said, you got to have a balance in life. Otherwise, I don't know, mentally might not be too healthy.
On the flip side of that, it is quite good to go and watch a show with no pressure on yourself at all. You can just sit back, watch as a show and enjoy it, sitting there eating your sweets back below, not worrying about it.
Yeah.
Is the show on a Sunday or a Saturday?
2 of the 3 for Pure Elite or any of those 3 shows.
The Pure Elite one.
It's on a Saturday.
I think
It's a Saturday, yeah.
But it's not the same place this year, is it? It's High Wycombe. Yeah, it's not down.
High Wycombe, yeah.
Okay.
That's more on the northwest side of London, and that's of London, I think.
One of the things that's really tempting me is it's the last year I can do the juniors.
Oh, man.
Do the junior fitness model pro, and then
Why not?
exactly, yeah. I mean, it's got to be easier competition, isn't it? That's
mad.
Is that good reason to do it? I don't know. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think why not? If you've got the time and you think you can give it a good go, then I don't see why not. You could do a few weeks of prep and just see how your body's looking, and then think, you know what? I'm looking.
This goes to one of my questions to probably all of you guys. Obviously, when I was competing, I was literally only working part-time. But now I've got a new job coming up. I'll be working five days a week, starting in a new role. So I'll be in like a situation where I'm actually like learning the job, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think like prepping would be like that sort of like negatively affect prep and vice versa? Like, or do you think having that routine will benefit you, if that makes sense?
It depends on your job.
On yeah,
I think it depends on your job and what your job demands in terms of energy from you.
Mm-hmm.
I found personally, because my day job is a desk job in business, and I definitely did find that my mind was definitely a lot more focused on food and not on the work that I need to do. You know, I'll be working late afternoon, and instead of thinking about this email I should be sending, I'm thinking, I've got an hour and a quarter till I can eat my next meal. And you're like, it does take over your mind a little bit, and sometimes it can come in when you should be concentrating on work. And if you're required to work a bit later, I'm like, I can't. I've got to finish at 6 because I've got to do my workout. So it depends on your job. But for me, I found it did impact it towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Especially the more your mind gets on food, the less you have mental capacity for other things. But it wasn't significant. It wasn't material enough for it to, long-lasting effects. As soon as it's over, you can get back to normal.
The only problem is, like with me, and I reckon with a lot of you guys, is like once you say you're committed, you're committed. So no matter how sort of hard it might get on my job, I won't give up, because I'd already like sort of said I'm going to do it, and I just commit to it no matter what the negative effects were. Which is probably, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's probably a bit of both, really, isn't it?
Yeah. What do you think, Gordon? Have you got any wise advice?
I mean, like I said, I got really tired last time. Leading up to my second show at the end of last year, I was able to sort of move to a different department within my work, which made me came off shift work for a little while, which definitely helped. A bit more of a routine, a bit more sociable times to train. That definitely helped. I find myself really tired and, like I said, not concentrating sometimes, which is not ideal at work.
Yeah. Exactly.
But like George said, but if you commit to something, it's once you've got it into your head, it's very difficult to get halfway through and say, actually, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. You see it to the end, no matter what.
Yeah. Especially if you create some serious accountability on social media or with friends and family.
Everybody knows you're doing it, and then you back out.
Everybody knows it. Exactly.
Yeah. I kept the first show like hush hush until literally like 2 weeks out, which was like kind of annoying, because like obviously I've got my YouTube, and I didn't film anything up until 2 weeks out, so I might not end up doing it. And then the 2 weeks out, I was just like, right, I'm doing it, and then here we go, let's get the camera out. And by that point, I'm bloody shattered. It's just like filming becomes such a pain.
But it does keep you accountable, though, if you have stuck it all over Instagram or Facebook or something like that. And maybe people will understand why you're doing what you're doing as well.
I think that's probably like quite a good point. Like, if you are going to be doing it, if you time it well, sticking on social media, the fact you are doing it could be a benefit to you.
Absolutely.
In terms of accountability.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. Have you got anything, Charlie, to add?
For me, like once it was booked and like I knew I was doing that date, like nothing could have stopped me, like work or anything. It was just like you're doing it. It's like there's no other option really. And I can remember I was the busiest I've ever been at work during prep. I think because I was so active on social media and people saw me prepping, and that's why I was so busy. But it didn't stop. It was draining at times. Like it was made it worse. But nothing was going to stop me because this date was set, and nothing was going to stop me from getting on stage. So I think if you book it now, I think that's it. You'll do it.
That's the big thing as well, booking it, isn't it?
Yeah.
If someone is apprehensive about doing it, like book it and then you will do it.
Yeah, no going back then.
No going back.
Yeah, book it, then do a post about it and put everywhere.
Yeah, and then you do it.
What you got to do.
Yeah.
You have to do it then.
The last questions was written down was, would you compete again? But we've just spoke about that, and then like future plans, which is all about kind of competing. We've kind of already gone over that as well. Have anyone got any questions or anything they'd like to bring up or go over or want to share?
I feel like with competing, you can never plan a long-term approach to competing. You kind of take it one show at a time.
Yeah.
So when I booked in July, I was like, I don't know whether I'm going to do it again, but I'm just going to do this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then these ones that I've got coming up at the end of this year, I've booked them, but I have no intentions of competing after that. Well, I don't know whether I have intentions or not.
Yeah.
You kind of just take it one round of shows at a time, and then like once you've done that, then you evaluate and think, do I want to do it again?
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't have the mindset where I know I'm going to be competing for the next decade.
No,
I can't. I just can't. I have to take it one show at a time, yeah, and then decide whether I'm going to do it again. Because people do ask. They said, "Are you going to compete?" All the time, and I'm like, well, I don't know whether I'm going to do it again after these next ones. It's hard. Yeah, it's weird. You don't really plan long term like that. Well, I found that personally.
I personally kept the literally decided so close to the show where I'll do it. So I probably cut for 4 weeks, kind of half-heartedly, but still losing 1 or 2 pounds a week how you'd want it. Because obviously the first weeks are pretty easy, as we all know, and then it'll come to 4 weeks out, and I'm like, right, sound. I'll book it, and then and then just start pushing towards the goal. But I think that's just a case of sort of individually, isn't it? Whether you're someone who wants to have it booked well in advance, so you've got know what you're doing up to then, or whether you're someone who wants to just sort of be a bit wishy-washy until it's time to actually decide.
Yeah.
I feel like, has anyone, it'd be interesting to know, has anyone kept good habits that they picked up during their first prep? So when I mean that, I say, well, firstly, I didn't know anything really about food. And once I did the switch, say from using butter on a pan to a light spray, or cutting out full fat mayonnaise to low fat, and you kind of educate yourself on what has lots of calories in and doesn't. And then, so I'm going to say, have you guys, even though you're not prepping, or you may not prep again forever, but you picked up some eating habits that have stuck with you since then?
I've definitely been eating cleaner than I ever was. I'm not eating McDonald's and all that sort of rubbish so much. And cooking, cooking from scratch instead of grabbing stuff out of the freezer. It takes longer, but you feel better for it. I know if I've eaten a couple of crap meals, I feel almost like hungover.
Yeah.
I certainly notice a difference.
Yeah.
I think that just, but for me, that boils down to learning through tracking. Because I was tracking for a long time before I actually competed. But for someone who's the common individual, someone who doesn't have a clue about diets at all, I think tracking and then seeing what's in what is just the way to go, to just educate yourself nutritionally. And then for me personally, probably since competing or around competing, becoming sort of aware of how certain foods might impact you. So I don't know about you guys, but whenever if I have a Chinese or something, that sodium, the next day I just feel like crap up until the evening, to be honest, just because I've just had so much salt. I'm just so dehydrated the whole of the next day. And that just goes down to learning yourself and learning how you respond.
Yeah.
certain food groups.
Yeah, so I tracked prior to competing, just doing like mini cuts just for Instagram, just for just some posts. But that's nothing really changed too much. It was more a case of realizing how many calories are in certain types of breads. My prep basically just turned into how many pieces of bread can I have a day. And then I realized, hold on a minute, one piece of bread's got 100 calories in. I can find bread which has got less.
Yeah, that's. Or
And
when
then
someone.
we'd find something else which would be like, wow, like courgette. A pack of courgette is like 50 calories. And that's massive amounts of food. Then it's a bag of spinach and then some other bits and bobs in there. And that was kind of an eye-opener for me. But I've struggled to kind of continue to do that now. I don't know why. All of a sudden, I'm just not eating as much veg as I should be. And yeah, but you learn a lot about what's in food and what's in certain sources.
Being in a deficit definitely does like boost up my vegetable intake massively. I think we did have that conversation on show day. I think we were like what vegetables were we all eating? I think that was like mushrooms and beetroot were like my go-to of just like pile them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just thought of a question which has just come to me. Just we'll finish off on this. Is I don't think we've covered it. Is why did you all want to compete in the first place?
I'm gonna say I was influenced a lot to lift in the first place, and also to, ultimately compete through fitness YouTubers, especially like Christian Guzman, Alpha Leon, and then I've got Chris Jones. These are old school ones like Chris Jones, Matt Ogus, like all these guys used to compete, and I just looked at it and thought that's what made me want to go to the gym to gain mass, and then also what made me think, I'd love to get on stage, and I never had the discipline to get that kind of lean. I'd get fairly lean for a whole day, but I never had the discipline to take it to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that a competition would give me that accountability and motivation to get there. That's why I started.
Nice. We'll move on to the next.
Yeah, I booked a photo shoot to start with. I mean, probably now July, so it was probably like November 2018. I hired my coach to get myself in shape, just to do a photo shoot, just because I'm getting on a bit and I want to see what I could do, and get myself in a decent condition before I got too old. Ended up doing that, and so I put the hard work in to get to here. Why not carry on and go and do something else? And that was sort of the logical step, or the next step to aim towards, really. And again, it gave me something to aim towards. And that was it. All of a sudden, it was showdown. We've done it.
Nice. Easy as that. What about you, Charlie?
I don't know. I think when I was 17, I started the gym, started lifting and things. I just used to look at pictures of Arnie on stage and watch footage of Arnie, and that just sort of made, I know we didn't do a bodybuilding show, but that just made me want to step on stage and experience that. And then when I met you and you wanted to do the same, I was like, right, that's what we've got to do then. And then we just did it. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it was kind of the similar thing. For me, it was like Steve Cook back in the day, seeing men's physique, and Guzman doing men's physique, and a few other WBFF kind of pros were doing that, but it was all kind of new at the time. And I thought one day I'd do a show, just because they've done one, and I want to experience what that feels like. And I thought, imagine looking as good as them. And I never thought I'd ever be able to get lean. I was always bullied for being, different and not in shape. And then I thought I'd love to just do that to prove to myself that I could do it, and let's do a show. And then obviously met Charlie, and we thought, what show can we do? And then Pure Elite came up, and we just thought, why don't we just do it? Why don't we just give it a go and just take it off the bucket list? And that's how we kind of did it, which was pretty. I don't think I could have done it on my own personally. So for you guys just booking it and doing it, I've been thinking about booking it and doing it for about 10 years, and just never had the guts to do it. And then one day I thought I want to do it before I'm 30. I think that was I had like a bucket list of things I wanted to do, and that was just one of them. And then so we just booked it, and that was it. What about you, George? We'll finish off with you.
Mine was literally a case of years previous I'd got really lean just to go on holiday. Like pretty much how lean I was when I competed in the pure elite one, to be honest.
Mm.
So it was kind of like, if I'm getting that lean anyway, why am I not competing? It's just sort of like a waste, or like it's going to be an added bonus to compete.
Yeah.
The only thing that put me off years before is literally like watching all these fitness YouTubers, seeing how shredded they get, and then obviously when you meant like when at the end of a cut, when you're not like as mentally as sound as you would be usually, you think you look way worse than you actually do. Whereas like for a standard show, you're probably still in really, really good condition.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd probably go to another bit of advice to just be like, don't compare yourself to these massive fitness YouTubers with millions of subscribers, because they are like the cream of the crop, and most people competing look nowhere near as good as that. So
yeah,
I
like that. Yeah, it's you are looking at the best, and you're looking at the best competitors in the world, and not everyone looks like that.
There's a reason they've got that many subscribers, and usually it's because they've just reached an exceptional physique.
Yeah, that's spot on. I think nice piece of advice to leave it on. Has anyone got any last little things you want to do? Any shout outs, anything like that, or is everyone happy?
No, mate. Time to eat.
Just a big shout out to yourself, Damien, for having us on the show.
Say that again, sorry, mate. I was absolutely
Just a big shout out to yourself. Keep having us on the show.
No, I think it's been nice. Me and Charlie, we spoke about it a few times, saying, what, it would be pretty cool if we all had a catch up and see how everyone's doing. So this is nice. So I appreciate everyone coming down and joining in and having a chat and unloading. So it's been great. I really appreciate everyone coming on.
Look forward to getting a session in with everyone when we can.
Yeah.
You have to invite us back in another 12 months for podcast episode 100 or whatever, maybe.
the reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a live round table when we're allowed to see each other in person.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. But no, I appreciate it, guys. I'm going to end the recording there. So thank you for coming. Any questions, make sure you fire them across. And then, we'll see you.
Cheers, guys.
See you later.
Thank you for coming.
Cheers, guys. Take it easy.
See ya.